like you need to get them on the phone, bro. Like, send them something now, bro.
Listen, guys,
I think we have a misunderstanding on how this arrangement is supposed to go. Let me be very transparent and very clear with everybody. Yeah? These plants, I'm not going to lie, I'm not blaming you, Philip, but I'm very disappointed because it means that at this point, these plants are dying. So my next question is, what are we going to do to make sure, once again, send me the video. I want the video.
Welcome once again to Broadwater Pharmacy. Currently, we are having some challenges with the crop and the yield as well as the media, which is commonly known as EC buildup. So we currently face an issue with the EC in the media, which is salt being built up in the media, and it has a major effect and impact on the crops, which may lead to you not harvesting or low yield. One of the major challenge or effect on the crops is, back in the days, that is the GSS integrated science, we learned something about osmosis. So EC kind of works similar like the osmosis. So if you have EC buildup in your media, instead of your crops taking nutrients and water, the EC rather drain water from the crops, which may lead your crops to stress, lack of nutrients, flower being aborted, fruit being smallish, and then low yield. So this is the current situation, and in our case, it has been a very tough way to handle the EC and also being able to harvest from the farm. EC simply means electronic conductivity. To the best of knowledge is the salt content in a solution. So we've been as farmers, when you look at the nutrients the plant take, it's all salt. So that's how EC plays a major role when it comes to farming. So some of the symptoms of EC buildup in your media or your crops facing with EC issue is some of the leaves burn, and then the topmost or majority of the leaves also decolorize, and your fruit flower may also drop. You may also see your crops being stressed up. Although you are giving enough water, it looks as if they don't take in water. Why? Because the salt is draining water from the crops. These are some of the challenges or the symptoms of EC that you will find in your crop, as you can see behind me. Okay, so one will ask, if I should get EC buildup in my farm, what should I do? Should I leave the crops or should I end the cycle? So there are various ways to handle EC. Some are very, very common, and this is how here we go about with our EC. So first of all, you need the right tool for the job. You need to get a good working EC meter. So when I say EC meter, it's a gadget you use to measure, to know whether your EC in the solution is either high or low. When it is low, it means you are not feeding your crops enough. When it is very high, it means you are overfeeding or you are giving the crops too much salt that they cannot take. So when that happens and you know that you have high EC, one thing you have to do is you wash your media with raw water. Even when it comes to cooking, it's easily for you to add salt than to remove. So washing the media with raw water may take time, but it works. So as you are washing, you continue to check with your EC meter to know that the EC in the media has dropped down to the required EC or neutral. Then you can start feeding. 2, you also have to prune all the affected leaves, because this has no use with the crops. Crops prepare their food through photosynthesis, and your leaves becomes this, the crops cannot prepare enough food to feed themselves. And 3, because of EC, your crops may not take the nutrient you are feeding, so it's highly necessary for you to supplement them with foliar fertilizers like the polyfeed and any other foliar fertilizer for the crops to be able to survive. So in this case, we are currently washing the media with clean water to make sure that our EC comes back to normal. We are also supplementing them with foliar fertilizer that you can look back, you see that we are getting greens, which also help us to get some harvest on it. With this EC, I think we are also making sure that we are checking to bring EC back to control and then bounce back to harvest as usual. So how is EC being checked? So with your raw water, this is my water, this is EC meter. So you have to calibrate it to EC and then you dip it in the water and it will actually read the EC reading or the salt content in the water. So this is fresh water from the ground and my EC is giving me 0.2 microsiemens. So if you mix your fertilizer in the tanks or nutrient in the tanks, you then check the stock solution EC, and then later on you have to check your root zone. You may be getting the right EC in your tank, but the root zone, with time the salt will build up. So which is actually the problem, not the EC from the tank. EC from the tank, you can easily dilute it with water and get it, but EC in the media build up over time. It doesn't happen overnight, it takes a long time to build up. So for you to check the root zone EC, you have to get some media around the root zone. After that, you squeeze the water from it like this. You can either get a bigger container or you can also use the cap of the EC. So you squeeze to make sure that you get enough water to check your EC. After that, you dip it in the media, in the solution from the media. And guess what? My root zone EC is currently giving me 3.2, which is high for me. So what I need to do is continue washing them with raw water, supplement them with foliar fertilizer, and continuous check the root zone EC to maybe 1.5, 1.7. Then I start with my fertigation again or adding more nutrients to it. Remember, any fertilizer you put in water or you give to your crops is salt, and with over time the salt build up. Thank you. So what we could have done to prevent the EC buildup was, one, getting a good working EC meter to be able to check whether our EC is building up or we are underfeeding the crop. The second aspect was to manually, at least at the end of every week, flush the media and then the drip lines with raw water to keep the EC in check. With these two options, we'll have gone a long way to help us save the crops. The last and most important aspect of this is also make my team and my co-workers understand how to use the EC meter effectively and make sure that we are going according to the policy. And trust me, we will not get this issue again, or will not find ourselves in this again. Thank you.
As you can see, ladies and gentlemen, doing agricultural business in Africa is not easy. It has its ups and it has its downs. We're going to have to apply the same level of tenacity, fortitude and diligence as our forefathers to look for creative ways around these issues. With that being said, our experience did get me thinking though, if these subtle changes in our greenhouse controlled environment can have such detrimental impacts on the quality of our produce, in a world filled with industrial pollution and contamination, what impact does that have on the natural foods in the natural environments? Contamination of water sources, for example, seeps into agricultural lands, contaminating crops and reducing their natural value. Heavy metals and toxic chemicals from mining manufacturing activities are found in alarming levels in food crops, posing serious health risks to consumers like you and I. The misuse of pesticides and fertilizers is leading to food poisoning incidents affecting vulnerable communities. Mycotoxins, often resulting from poor storage and handling practices, are frequently found in foods, negatively impacting food security and export potential. These pollution issues are compounded by inadequate regulatory oversight and limited awareness among farmers and consumers. This is the reason why our mission is so important. Our mission to make agriculture great again goes far beyond the agricultural space. Our purpose is to educate children of the diaspora as to why we should enter industries like agriculture so that we can introduce ethical
unethical practices. Yeah, it's all good to come to Ghana in December and in April to enjoy life and party, but ultimately our bigger purpose, our greater purpose that we owe to our people is to be able to bring control and ethics back to these industries so that we can benefit ourselves and each other. But the real question is whether or not we're going to be able to bounce back from this loss. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned to find out.